Hello guys, welcome to the Betfred World Cup show. I'm Simon Lillibury, and on today's show I'm joined by Conor McGilligan and England former superstar John Barnes. Welcome to the show, John. Thanks for joining us.
That should have been England's superstar, former player. Am I a former
That
superstar?
That is true. You're a
Listen,
superstar still.
that's showbiz.
That is
That's
showbiz.
Former superstar, not anymore.
We've got so much to get through today, guys. We're going to reflect on England's performances so far. Later in the show, we're going to do our World Cup knockout predictions as well. So stay tuned for that. But Conor, let's start with England's 2-0 win over Panama. Not the most eye-catching performance, but got the job done top of the group.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got to look at it as well. It's not going to be plain sailing, is it, this competition? It's tough. Panama ranked 30 in the world as well, so it was always going to be a bit of a tricky assignment. Declan Rice, been out of that midfield as well, something to get used to, something to acclimatise to. I'm not as sort of downbeat as a lot of my pals and, colleagues and stuff like that when it comes to England. Like you just said, we've topped the group. It's what it is. We move on, don't we?
It's job one done, isn't it, John? Top in the group.
Well, you've got to get through the group. And we've seen, you saw Spain with Cape Verde. You can see, in the early games, you're going to have some strange performances, but we're not going to, England be a strong physical team. I don't think we're going to play sparkling football with the nature of the players we actually have, but we'll be, we'll play intense football. We're strong, physical, and we'll get the job done. I'm not talking about winning it, but when we should. I'm hoping that fans don't get all of a sudden feel that we're going to all of a sudden change the way we play. You can tell with the intent that he had once he didn't bring players like Phil Foden and Cole Palmer and people like that he's going to go for a functional team, a practical team that can win football matches, but not in the most eye-catching way.
I saw a stat, by the way, that the last World Cup winners to win all three of their group games was Brazil in 2002. So it's been 24 years, Con, since the team's actually romped through their group and gone on to win it.
What's it now? France, I guess. They're still the favourites, aren't they? They've won all three games as well. Yeah, 100%. And like John's quite rightly said, it's not just been England, has it? It's been Spain, it's been Portugal. But they don't get all the press though, do they? No, exactly.
In the country, we beat Croatia 4-1, then we're going to win the World Cup. We're great. Then we drew with Ghana, we're terrible. Then we beat Panama 2-0, should have been 6. Other countries don't have that expectation. You build up to try and get through the group. You get through the group. You know what you got to do. So we unfortunately make rod for our own backs with our unrealistic expectations of how we should play in every game.
Do you feel that as a player, by the way, when you're playing for England?
You do feel it as a player, although we handled it well because we never got carried away. When we played in the 90 World Cup, for example, we played teams like Egypt and we played other teams whereby we may have won 1-0 or drawn, and we never got depressed or carried away because we understood how good other teams are. So that's okay for the fans to feel that way, but the players and the manager should not feel that way at all.
Keeping the camp tight.
Is there almost a reset as well, John, when you get to knockout football? It's almost like the tournament begins now in a sense.
Well, of course, what happens in the early rounds as well is that when you're playing against teams who, I'm not saying they don't know that they should be beaten 6 or 7, they're confident. The first game you're playing against a Cape Verde, for example, they haven't lost, they haven't been defeated by anyone, so they're full of confidence throughout the World Cup. Now, obviously, the further you go in the World Cup after they've lost a few games, then you can see them go down a level. Yeah. But the first couple of games in the World Cups are always difficult, no matter who you play against.
There's been a lot of injury issues, Con. Tino Livermont's already gone home. Reece James, we thought he would get injured at some point in this World Cup. It has happened. Declan Rice obviously injured as well at the minute. What do you make of the right back situation, the defence situation in general? I think that's the big concern, isn't it?
Yeah, well, John's perspective on this is going to be really interesting as well. I think with the squad selection, I agree it was 100% functional, and I wasn't downbeat on the squad selection whatsoever. I do look at Trent Alexander-Arnold still been at home, and I look at a squad of 26, and I think, especially with the Reece James conversation we had at the very start, the injury list, Tino Livramento, the injury list, that's just the one that bugs me slightly.
Well, if you're going to bring Livramento and bring Reece James, you also have Jed Spence, who's a right. You don't pick your team based on picking 4 or 5 right backs. Mm-hmm. And of course, as it turned out, they may have been injured, but you don't. He would have had to have not brought one of them to bring Trent. You could not have brought them as he wanted to bring them, even if they have a few injury problems, and bring Trent as well as cover. You talk about 4 right backs. A right back ain't winning the World Cup, let me tell you. And particularly in terms of the way we actually play, he wants his defenders to defend. We haven't got the strongest back 4. So if you bring Trent, who's not a defender, if you like, when you have a back 4 who aren't the Terry and Rio Ferdinand and the Ashley Cole, so they're not the best back 4, you better bring defenders who can defend rather than thinking we need another creative player there. So as it's turned out, you may then say, okay, from that perspective, are we going to miss Trent? Is it going to be from an attacking perspective, from a right back perspective, or a defensive perspective? So for me, hindsight's a great thing, but I don't think he made the wrong decision if he wants to play in that particular way.
I get the Trent thing. I do, obviously, he's star power, but I'm more looking at Lewis Hall if we're looking at players who could have covered, because then I quite like Jed Spence. You could move him to the right-hand side, play Lewis Hall on the left, or Nico O'Reilly. That's where I'm a bit like calling up Chalobah, having Quansah in there. I'm just not.
But
not
what he's
sure.
actually looking at? He's looking at adaptable players. He's looking at players who can play as a centre-back as well. You're looking at Quansah, you're looking at Chalobah. He can play him at right-back or whatever,
Quansah
because,
as well,
Quansah, as I said. So therefore, he looked at that and said, well, I can cover in those areas. He can't cover in those areas in terms of having a progressive attacking right-back, be it a Reece James or a Trent, but he's not interested in that. And we can't then say that's what he should have done, because if he wants his creativity to come from other areas and he just wants his defenders to defend, I think he's got enough cover in that.
Do you think it was a bit unusual though, John? Obviously with Reece James and Livramento, with the injury records that they've had this season, for him to go with both of those?
Well, of course, they would have had reports, and you can never legislate for people getting injured, and you can't say you're going to play 4 or 5 matches and they're going to get injured. And in hindsight, is a wonderful thing, absolutely. But of course, that he felt he had to do that, and whatever. Listen, when you take a manager, you take the manager and you put trust in what he wants to do. You can't say, well, I would have done this, because if you would have done that, you'd be the manager. Or if you want him to play in a particular way, which means he's going to take Trent or Cole Palmer and Phil Foden, that's fine. But if he says, I don't want them because I'm going to play in this way no matter what happens, then he's not going to regret. And if you go out, it's not as if you're taking Cole Palmer or Phil Foden, we would have won anyway, because he has a particular way of playing that he likes.
Yeah.
So we can't want him to do what we want him to do. We either take him and say this is what you're going to do, or we don't take him.
I think the centre-backs is also an issue. I look at the other major nations, France in particular. They know their best back two in terms of the centre-backs. Still think we're choosing two from 3 here. Do you have a
Well, once again, with John
Stones?
Stones and of course, if you look at the situation whereby, obviously, if you're going to play against a team where you dominate possession, and you're going to need a centre back who's going to bring the ball out and play, there's John Stones. But if you then want a defender like Quansah, for example, who's going to be stronger defensively, or chasing people into the channel, or for whatever reason. So, I mean, from that perspective, I think that we are light at the back in terms of who we can choose from. Yes, we have a lot of right backs, but from a centre back perspective, I don't think we have many to choose from.
I just still think we miss Harry Maguire from set pieces. When we take corners at the moment, Colin, I'm like, I don't think any of our centre backs are going to go and bosh their header in like Harry Maguire did.
And I think the deliveries are good, aren't they? The deliveries into the box are always good, especially if you've got Declan Rice over them. But he's monstrous in the air, isn't he, Harry Maguire? And it feels like that. Yeah, I agree with you. But again, there's a reason he's been left out, hasn't there? There's clearly a reason he's been left out.
You don't bring a right back in because a centre back in because he's good in the air for corners.
Good
You don't say I'm going to put him
boxes,
for corners.
yeah.
Both boxes. International football is not about people putting crosses in and scoring goals from headers. What he's actually said is, this is how I'm going to play. I'm going to play a high line.
Yeah.
Is Harry Maguire going to be involved in that high line? No, he's not. So as much as you talk about from corners and he's good in both boxes, if you want to play mobile centre back so that you can actually have the 3 midfield players pushing up and defending high and having a higher line, and you need pace at the back, Harry Maguire's not the one. So once again, we can look at positives from that. But then if you play a team where Harry Maguire's dropping back and he's playing people on side, we're going to go, why is Harry Maguire there? Because he wants to play a high line. What we have to do is understand that this is where he's going to play. And he's chosen players who's going to fit into what he wants, not what we want. And if we want him as manager, we're going to have to put up with that.
What would be your two, John? Your two centre-backs?
It'll be Gay and Quansah.
Yeah.
And of course, you can go back to talking about Ferdinand and Terry and go back to some players who you would think, So I don't feel that we have a lot of choice at the back, if you see what I mean. At English football now, we're struggling with getting defenders like we did in the past.
100%. The wingers, obviously, you played on the left wing an awful lot during your career. Marcus Rashford and Anthony Gordon. I thought Rashford was reasonably decent against Panama, making some good runs. Where are you on the Rashford-Gordon debate?
Well, I think that in an international perspective, I think Rashford would be the one. From a club perspective, it's different. You see what Gordon has done at Newcastle, and now he's gone to Barcelona, and Rashford really hasn't, set the world alight, either for Man United or even for Barcelona in that respect. However, I always feel he will do better in international football. I think he's more suited to him in terms of what he actually has. I remember Darius Vassell played for Villa, and I thought he did really well for England when he played, probably better than he did for his club. So I think from that perspective, I'm going to look at Marcus Rashford.
I quite like as well how I think there could be quite a nice combination between O'Reilly and Rashford, because I think Rashford likes to cut inside a little bit, whereas O'Reilly hits that byline, doesn't he? So it could be an interesting dynamic.
And Saka on the other wing, Colin. He's coming for a bit of criticism. Maybe not hitting the heights. Maybe coming back from injury. Obviously, not starting the first couple of games.
I think that's what it is, isn't it? He looks It looks like he's carrying something. You speak to a couple of Arsenal fans and they're saying the same thing about Saka. Maybe, you saw against Croatia, the impact he made off the bench. He was absolutely brilliant. But maybe that's how you look at Saka during this tournament.
I think you have to look at the way the team plays. And the way the team plays is set up for Jude Bellingham to go forward and score goals and Harry Kane to come off to create those goals. So in many respects, the wide players are going to be bit part players. For Arsenal, it's different. They look to get to Saka quickly. Because they don't have Gyökeres coming off to get involved, whereas Harry Kane does that. You have Jude Bellingham, who's very dominant in winning the ball all the time, so we're trying to play for him. So they're mid-part players, and this is where I think England have fallen down over the years, and I think they've fallen down in this one as well, whereby we're not picking the players to suit the way we play. He has done in midfield in terms of Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, and Jude Bellingham to be strong. But with Harry Kane being the creator and Jude Bellingham looking to get on the end of things, when it's Saka or even Anthony Gordon, for that respect, going to get involved. We're not playing a game where we're going to dominate midfield and pass the ball out wide for them to be the main players, as he is for Arsenal. So once again, we're picking players to fit into, to shoehorn into this team, whereby it's just designed for two people to be our main attacking threat, which is Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham.
Talking of Jude Bellingham, I thought he was superb. I think he just fills that England shirt and just takes on that kind of the mantle of being the main man.
Well, no one's on his level yet, are they? From an England perspective, I think he's the absolute standout. He's carrying this team, and we need more players to get up to Bellingham's level. I think he's been outstanding, hasn't he? Really good finish, I thought, for that first one. Reminded me of the Slovakia game where we desperately needed a goal and he got one. It's been a very, very good start. It's almost captain-like leadership, it feels like at the minute, and real quality to back it up.
If you're in that England dressing room or in your England dressing room, are you fully aware of who the main man is or whether you are the main man?
No, the team is the main thing. If Jude Bellingham's the main man and Saka and people aren't going to be able to show what they can do, what is the point of that? So, unfortunately, we are once again not picking the team that is going to benefit all 11 players. It's going to benefit Jude Bellingham. And while we expect from Saka and from Gordon or from Rashford, they're not going to be able to do it because everything's going to be about Bellingham. The problem we have in England is we look at the best individuals and we put them in the team because they're playing individually well for their club and we feel, okay, they're going to go and do it. But that's not the way football works. The two most important people in France is Tchouaméni and Rabiot. So they allow the other four to do what they do. Tchouaméni and Rabiot would not get in even in England's squad because we say, what are they doing? They're not creative. They're not, beating players. They're not getting forward. All they're doing is getting the ball. So therefore, unfortunately for us, our two main players is the midfield player and Harry Kane, and the two wide players. You'd much rather have just two hard-working wide players just to defend and to work hard and let Bellingham and Kane do what they do. But that's not what we do. We try, and this is why it's not taking full Foden and Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
So if you look at Spain, for example, Fabian Ruiz is a player who's just a defensive midfield player, and so is Rodri. But they're very important for Spain. But we would say we want better players than that. So for England, unfortunately, we think it's about individual players. As we're saying now, Bellingham, Kane, it's not about them. It's about the way we perform as a team.
Was Deschamps labelled for France? The water carrier was his nickname or something?
Well, and you look at the way as I mentioned, those two players there, Rabiot and Tchouaméni. And then if Kone comes on, and they're not expected, if that was us, we'd be saying, well, what are they doing? They should be able to hit passes and dribble past players and get forward. That's what we're saying about Declan Rice. Declan Rice is a defensive midfield player. That's what he is. And that's good enough for what we want. But what do we say? No, he's better than that. He should be able to get... So if Declan Rice is going to get forward and score goals, Bellingham isn't, or Harry Kane isn't. So we just have to find out the best way we can. And Tuchel, to be fair to him, he wants to play as a team, but unfortunately, we as pundits and as fans, we expect all our players to be doing great things.
And Kane's better dropping in, isn't he? And sometimes that's covering the position.
Well, Kane hasn't got a choice because Kane hasn't got that pace to go the other way anyway. So Kane drops in and he looks to play Bellingham or someone wide to get Bellingham in. So what are the others doing? If Kane's going to be the playmaker, what's the point of having the others in the team?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is DR Congo up next for England Wednesday at 5 p.m. England are 2-7 to win this one in 90 minutes. The draw is 4-1 on Betfred. DR Congo 12-1. Big underdogs, as you would expect. England still top price on Betfred to win the World Cup at 6-1. DR Congo have been a bit of a surprise package. Quite a lot of fun to watch, I think, and a lot of familiar Premier League players they've got in their team.
Yeah. We've got listed down here, haven't we? Wan-Bissaka, Twanzebe. Completely forgot about Visser as well. Scored a decent headed goal, didn't he? I think we're probably going to, I think it's fair to say, we're going to sort of have similar process to what we've had up against the other teams, where it's going to be sitting back and it's going to be England having to break that down. But I think they've looked good, and I've got them in a sweepstakes, so it's brilliant.
Got a 1-1 draw against Portugal as well, which will probably be a bit of a similar game plan to what they try and do against us, John.
Yes, and of course, when you play against teams like that who are going to defend deep, which is nothing wrong with that, they have to see how do we win. I remember in the old days, in the 70s and 80s, when the so-called minnows go to the World Cup, and they say, let's go and try and play great football. We're playing against the Germanys and the France and the Spains, and let's go and take them on. And they lost 6-0, and they go, well done, because you try to attack. Now they say, let's defend, let's see what we can do, which is what Ghana did, which is what they'll do. And unfortunately for us, because we don't have a Phil Foden and Cole Palmer and players who can play in tight areas, it won't be a struggle, but we're not going to be as free-flowing and as inventive as we could have been, but I still think we'll win. But if we think all of a sudden this England team's almost going to change to play sparkling football, it ain't going to happen. But we're strong enough to win the game.
What do you do then, John? That's going to be a little bit different. Is it two up top? Is it dropping another
You do
number 6?
exactly what you do, like we beat Panama, so it's going to be hard. They'll be so therefore, this whole idea of just playing one holding midfield player. Listen, there's only one ball, so you can put 6 attacking players, only one of them has the ball at a time, and one of the other 5 doing. Liverpool had that problem, when all of a sudden we signed these great players, but there's only one ball. I mean, you've got Verting, TK and Gakpo and Isak. We've got all these players. There's one ball, and what are the other players doing when that one person has the ball? So you have to have the right blend, which Tuchel has done. So once again, if we think all of a sudden we're going to change the way we play to then overexpand and have great football and we're going to tear teams apart, that ain't going to happen. We can win, but it ain't going to change the way we play.
Should we do a quick score prediction for the England DR Congo game, Connor?
0-1 England.
Goal scorer?
Harry Kane penalty.
Why is that? Are we away? Why I mean 0-1? Is that not 1-0?
1-0, sorry.
0-1 means they're going to win, isn't it? Because we're the home team. In the studio, we are the home team.
Yep,
so 0-1 means we've lost. I hope that's not a Freudian slip.
So it's going to be a rough watch then, but we will get through, which is the most important.
Yeah, probably quite similar to the Ghanaians in terms of just being effective at the back, be strong in midfield, got a fair few athletes in that side. I think we'll get through, but it's like what John's saying. England aren't just going to suddenly change how they play, and it's quite passive. I couldn't help but looking in the box in the Panama game, and it's just Kane up against 8 other players, and you're thinking, well, where is that out ball then? Then he's drifting back to try claim the ball, and you're thinking there's no runners beyond him. I think it's going to be arduous, but I think then maybe if we get through, we get to a Mexico and Ecuador at the Azteca, and you expect them to at least go at us, which might leave us a little bit of space.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 England win. Bellingham.
So you think similar then in terms of it just being a bit of a...
I can see them hitting us on the counter.
2-1 or 1-2? Which you've gone 0-1, you've gone 2-1.
I'm going 2-1 England.
Okay.
What about you, John?
I'm going to go 2-0 England again.
Yeah. Goal scorers?
Well, of course, Harry Kane and maybe someone from a corner. I don't really know.
After what I've said,
Who knows?
if there's not been threatening from corners, we'll score from a corner. Guaranteed to happen. Top scorer race for the Golden Boot is still quite exciting. Lionel Messi, top of the charts on 6 goals. Brings us to who for you is the greatest player of all time?
Maradona. Pele, Maradona, Ronaldo, Messi. I don't think you can say there's any individual greatest player. It depends what you mean by the greatest player. Who scored the most goals? Who's the most inventive? Who's got the most flair? I think when you look at the top players from different generations, if the top player who played, you could go back to Leonidas, and he's not the one. Well, he is one in Spartacus, Leonidas, but not that one. The one who played for Brazil in the 30s and 40s, he'd be. But of course, in modern times, and we have to talk about Pele, Maradona, Messi, Ronaldo. For me, they're the 4. So you can argue about who you think it is, but I will go for Maradona.
You come?
Messi. Yeah.
A more pertinent debate for me, because it's obviously not a generational thing, which is a modern thing, is Messi or Ronaldo. And I agree with him.
I don't think there's a debate anymore on that.
Well, it would be a debate. Ronaldo has lots of followers and lots of fans. So it's difficult.
It still needs a World Cup knockout goal. Maybe we'll get one from Cristiano Ronaldo before the end of the tournament. Right, guys, it's time to predict our World Cup knockout stage. We already know that Canada beat South Africa 1-0, so they're already through. We know that's happened.
Dreadful game.
Yeah, let's not waste any breath on that game. It was awful. But we're going to go through each fixture, try and come to an agreement. If we disagree, John Barnes gets the deciding.
Oh, it's between you two then?
No, we're all involved,
us,
but
yeah?
you get the final say. That's what we're doing. Germany versus Paraguay. Is this relatively straightforward?
I think so. Yeah. Paraguay haven't looked that impressive, have they? I think Germans will win that one, yeah.
Just going to get my pen and paper out and write these down as we go along. France versus Sweden could be a bit of an interesting tie, but France is very strong.
Well, if I think they're going to win the World Cup, I think they'll have to win this one.
Whoa, spoilers, John. Let's save that for
How is that a spoiler?
retention.
How is that a spoiler? I've been on the top of the Eiffel Tower waving my French flag. I mean, please. How is that a spoiler? Come on.
Canada.
In fact, I was in the offices in Betfred 2 weeks ago, and I said, so it's not going to change. So
Canada are already through against South Africa. Netherlands, Morocco. That's a great
It's a really good game, that. I've been really impressed with the Netherlands. Really, really impressed with the Netherlands. I'll go Netherlands 2-1.
I think it's a belt-in tie.
You think what?
Belt-in tie. I think it's going to be so good. What about you, John?
What did you go for?
I'm so on the fence.
Because if I've got the Catholic vote,
I'll go Morocco. There you go.
Well, I agree with you.
Oh, there we go.
Morocco, a very strong team. You saw them. You saw the way they played. And you can see what they got to the semi-final. And the Netherlands, I'm glad we're calling them that. We used to call them Holland. The Netherlands are a good team who play great football. But I think when the going gets tough and they're playing against tough opposition, which Morocco are, the Heat, where's that game being played?
I don't know. Couldn't produce
It'll be hot anyway. It'll be hot. I don't know. I'm going to go for Morocco.
Absolutely. I think that means a Morocco-Canada in the next round, but we'll come back to that later on. That is such a good time.
AFCON winners as well.
AFCON winners, of course. Did they win it? They got awarded it.
They got awarded it.
Yeah,
so
awarded
won it.
And of course, they got a semi-finals last time, and they're a good team. If you look at the players they have, they've got a very good team.
Should have beaten Brazil. Portugal, Croatia. Where are we at with Portugal at the minute, Con?
I don't really know with Portugal. Superstars everywhere, haven't there? Love João Neves, and I think they're probably at the best midfield in the tournament.
Haven't seen it yet, though.
Not seen it yet.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, there's a conversation about the front man, always, isn't there?
The issue I've got with it is that he cannot be taken off. I think Messi.
He's played every minute. I'm sure
he's played every minute.
Every minute, yeah.
Even in the heat of Miami against Colombia,
Look,
not getting taken off.
What you want is the harmony. You want the togetherness. You want the belief. And I agree with you when you talk about looking at a Portugal team player for player. They're such good players. But if you have a player who dominates the team so they don't show what they can do because they feel inhibited by always having to give him the ball, or if they make a mistake, he's going to throw his hands in the air, if you don't pass to him. When I think if he wasn't in that team, I would have Portugal one of the favourites to win.
I agree.
But with him in that team, and that's fine if you're a 25-year-old Ronaldo who can score goals by yourself and do whatever you do. But at 41 now, and you negatively impact the team when you're not able on the pitch to do what you used to do, with a team like that, you look at those players they actually have all over the pitch. I think that he is detrimental to the team.
Have you ever played with anyone like that?
No, because they wouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
They wouldn't be allowed to, no matter who you are. If you're Ian Rush or Kenny Dalglish, he could never feel more important than Samuel or Jimmy Case. This is not the way football was back then. No matter who you were not more important than your teammates. So I think that it's a modern thing. And the difference with Messi, because Messi doesn't run around too much, is that his teammates like him. They respect him. He respects them.
Yeah.
So therefore, if he doesn't get the ball, he doesn't throw his hands in the air. He doesn't complain. So
he's
therefore,
not demanding to start. He was rested for the
and he's not demanding. So therefore, that's a much better situation.
They do though, John, don't they? As soon as Messi enters the field, they do try funnel it around him. But maybe do you think it's because he's a 10? He's not that final.
No, because they like him.
That's what
they like
is,
him. So therefore, whereas Ronaldo is difficult. If you don't pass to him and he throws his hands in the air and you got to pass to him, whereas Messi doesn't.
Yeah.
I see Messi walking around and they pass to other people and he doesn't get the ball. He doesn't complain.
Yeah.
Whereas other people may feel if Messi was then to complain that I'm Messi, I want the ball all the time, blah blah blah. Maybe you'll have that dynamic. So I think that that's a much better situation.
And Ramos is a good alternative for Portugal as well.
I'm just thinking if Portugal had Messi and Argentina had Ronaldo, how would that play out? And I think Portugal would.
Portugal got a better team, haven't they?
I think so. Player for player in the positions, absolutely.
Portugal, Croatia, who are we putting through? I think I would still go for Portugal based on individual quality.
Probably going to go to extra time, I think, that one, but I'll go Portugal.
Anything else, John?
I would go Portugal only because I think that Croatia team is an old aging team with Modric and people like that in it. So therefore, and they're good. But in the second half, you saw against England, they fall off it. So I think Portugal has enough of them there.
Spain, Austria.
I want to give Austria the plaudits. I think they're a really good footballing team under Ralph Rangnick. I think they look really good. But it's got to be Spain, hasn't it?
Yeah, Spain.
I'll go for Spain. I mean, they're probably the best. I would say they're the best footballing team if you want to talk about, whatever the beautiful game looks like. I think one thing will let them down as opposed to France is that the goal scoring power that they have. They score goals, share it around, but I don't think, when they have Oyarzabal up front and he'll score goals, but I don't think they have enough goals around. They've got great players. And if football was about just playing football and you don't have to score goals. It's just how many passes you have and how good you look. I think Spain will be the best team.
He doesn't even seem like a 9, does he?
Yeah,
he doesn't even seem like a 9. He's a bit of a weird... It's like they just shoehorned a winger up
and
top.
not only that,
almost.
he just doesn't... when you talk about a footballer who looks quick and he's good in the air and he's skillful, but he looks like he doesn't really have much, but he's got the knack of scoring goals. He scores goals, but you look at him, he's just like... He reminds me of John Aldridge. John Aldridge, he's not quick. He's not skillful. He's not particularly tall, but he scores headers. He gets on the end of through balls and he scores goals. So Spain for me, yeah.
USA, Bosnia, fairly straightforward USA win. Been pretty impressed with them, actually.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
Well, I'll go USA, but I won't say straightforward. I mean, once you get into the knockout stages, you're playing against good teams. And the whole euphoria of being an American, and they're doing great and had a great first game and whatever. But, Bosnia on a bad team.
Yeah.
And, once you got to knockout stages, you're a little bit nervous. So I'll go for USA, but I don't think it's as straightforward as we think.
The young lad, Alej Begovic, looks really good as well, doesn't he? The Leverkusen lad. Nice little maybe knockout goal for Xhaka coming. Who knows?
I like the look of this tie. Belgium, Senegal. I'm going Senegal on this. I think Belgium have been one of the biggest disappointments so far.
They didn't look bad in that last game, though, did they? They could have scored 10.
Who are they playing?
I know. I can't remember. Was it
With New Zealand?
New Zealand?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They won 5, didn't they? Was it 5? Yeah. I think they've got a soft spot, Belgium. Ever since, I remember even when De Bruyne and Hazard were in the team, and when they played, who did they play in the World Cup a few years ago? I think it was France, actually. And France weren't as strong, and they had all of these players. Belgium, and I always then spoke about know-how of how to win World Cups and win tournaments when you go to do the Germans and the French and the Spanish, or even the English to a certain degree. The Belgians always had great players, and they never fulfilled it. I think they've got a bit of a soft spot. So, and it's going to be hot. Senegal are good. You saw them play against England. I'm going to go for Senegal.
I'm going to say, I would.
3 for 3 there,
Senegal,
yeah. Very interesting. Brings us to the other half of the draw. Let me flip my sheet
Oh,
around.
look at this.
Tonight, Brazil-Japan, 6 p.m. Massive game. Love this one.
And I tell you, it's not an easy game. Japan are a good side. You saw they beat England, and you saw the way they play, and they're very. And what you'll get from Japan, like you'll get from a lot of the teams like Japan, is consistency. So they don't underachieve. They don't play badly. They don't play sparkling football, but and they don't lose hard. So you don't see Japan losing 5 and 6. You know what I mean? They may lose, but they're always there. They've got a great mentality of self-belief. I think that it'll be too much for them against Brazil. Brazil are one of the favourites in my opinion. So I think Brazil will win, but it won't be as easy as people think.
I agree with you. I think Vinicius Junior's just been sparkling so far this tournament, Nikon.
Yeah, I agree with what John's saying though. It's and John was saying as well about the individual quality. Japan don't necessarily have that, but they've been so successful in just having that team spirit and
collective
they've got lots of
understanding.
European players, haven't they, in top leagues as well.
Ayo Tanaka, you want to give him a mention?
Tanaka, yeah, wonderful footballer. But Ueda up front looks excellent as well. It's going to be a tough one, this, but I'd just maybe go Brazil. It's what you talk about with the know-how, isn't it? Yeah. Tournament football, it's Brazil, isn't it? You have to put them through.
Next one, Ivory Coast versus Norway. Norway interested in making, 10 changes for that game against France? Resting Haaland, resting everyone.
Yeah, well, once again, other people are talking about top goal scorers in the World Cup, and of course, had Haaland been playing for somebody else, then you'd think Haaland would be one of the top goal scorers. But just for the very fact that he's not bothered about that, in terms of not caring that he was left out in the last game because they want to get through, which is more important than him winning the Golden Boot, means that they're taking this seriously. So I'll wait until last to see who you choose.
I'm going to go for Norway. I think it's going to be so.
Ivory Coast have been good
50-50.
though. Ivory Coast have been really good. I think they've surprised me. I think they've looked really impressive.
Diamande, the winger, is it?
He's just signed for. Who's he signed for?
He wants PSG.
I don't think he's signed yet.
No,
a lot of people are in for him. He was going to, so I think he's just hedging his bets and seeing what comes of it.
Yeah, PSG, Liverpool, isn't it?
Norway defensively could be got at, but going forward,
too much going forward, haven't they? Too much.
I'm going Norway.
Yeah, I go Norway.
I'll go Ivory Coast. I mean, 2-1, but that's fine. I'll go Ivory Coast.
Is that Norway through?
Lots of heat. Lots of heat out there. It's going to be hot. I'll tell you, I'm going for the Ivory Coast.
Home nation, Mexico against Ecuador. Connor. Ecuador dark horses, I said before the tournament, they were pretty rubbish until
when you say dark horses, do you mean dark horses to win the World Cup or dark horses to get to the quarterfinals,
semi-finals?
semi-finals?
And semis, I think, yeah.
Mexico.
Really? Home nation? Yeah.
Yeah, home nation. The Azteca.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Okay, Mexico on that one. England, we've already said will go through, so let's put them through. We'll come on to that last 16 games shortly. Argentina, Cape Verde. I mean, this would be one of the all-time World Cup shocks, wouldn't it, if they don't win this?
Well, I mean, it would be. However, if you look at what Cape Verde does, in terms of the players they have, lots of them playing Europe. It could be a Portuguese second 11. A lot of them are Portuguese extraction, so they're a good side, as you can see. They don't score lots of goals, but they defend well. But I can't see past.
You can just see it'd be 0-0 for a long time, and then Messi just deciding that he needs to, turn up a little bit and put it in the back of the net.
Australia, Egypt's an interesting tie, quite even again, Connor.
I really like the Aussies when they was, the first couple of games looked good. I thought they were poor against the States. Egypt again have come into the tournament a little bit in the last two, haven't they? I'm going to go for Egypt for this one.
I will also go for Egypt, just about.
Yeah, it'll be close. It'll be close because, of course, we know about Mo and we know about other players they have, Marmoush, whoever they have. They've got good players, but Australia are a good side. I mean, they're well organized. They have this never say die spirit. They have this belief in themselves, a bit like the American team. They don't know that they're supposed to be crap. You know what I mean? America, come on, they don't know they're not supposed to be great. And once you have that attitude, the Aussie attitude of, hey, you can do anything, very much like the Americans. So they kind of like overachieve, if you like, or maximize their potential. But I just think Egypt will have too much quality for them.
Absolutely. Switzerland, Algeria up next, Con.
Just annoyingly good at every sport, the Aussies, aren't they?
I know. I think Switzerland have been very solid, very good.
They are for me one of the dark horses. Switzerland. If you look at them player for player, they're a good side. Yeah. They've got good strength. They've got good organisation, good experience. They've got good players.
Algeria were unbelievable in that 3-3 with Austria, wasn't it? In their last game.
It was just the last minute conceded, didn't they?
Mara's back. Yeah.
Mara's got a couple, didn't he? I'll go with what John says. I'll go Switzerland.
Switzerland. We're all agreed on Switzerland. And the last round of 32 games. A lot of fixtures in this World Cup knockout. Colombia, Ghana.
Colombia. Just been brilliant.
I agree with that.
Yeah, just. I mean, look at Ghana against England, Ghana, Shamble, Colombia. Interesting thing about it, I don't know if you're going to talk about it, about the amount of teams they have, which I'm a fan of. I must admit, I read a thing today of Carlos Queiroz complaining that there are too many teams in it. It's the World Cup. It belongs to the world.
Yeah.
You know how many teams they have in the Olympics?
No, I don't. Is it every nation?
205. Do they complain that someone from Papua New Guinea are going to be there? If you're there and this is the World Cup, so I have no issue with that.
The only issue I have with it is the first place team playing a third place team, a first place team. I think just go to 64 if you're doubling it and make it top two go through.
Instead of.
So go even bigger so that first if you finish first in your group, you should play a second place team. But
all right, that's what you mean.
That's not the case this time with the third place teams. Right, let's rattle through these last 16 games. Germany, Sweden.
I don't think the Germans are.
Oh, sorry, it's Germany, France.
Oh,
don't know why I wrote Sweden. That's my Vic Tiokaro's head.
Where are we now? Is it round of 16?
This is round of 16. Germany, France.
France.
Yep, France beating Germany.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they're just listen. They have the solutions to any problem you give them.
Yeah.
You defend deep. They've got Michael Elise, Dembele in tight areas. If you defend deep against them, as much as those two holding midfielders do what they want, you give them space with the pace they have up front with Dembele and Mbappe and people like that. Elise,
how good's Elise?
I mean, they're fantastic. However, as I said, those two in midfield, Rabiot and Chouameni, or Koné when he comes on, or you have Kante to come on.
Yeah.
And they, for me, gives them the balance, and that's what really we should have to look at.
Morocco, Canada, I think, is Morocco all the way.
I think that's Canada out. Yeah. Morocco.
Yeah. Decent run from Canada if they do get to the last 16. Portugal, Spain.
Oh, wow, these are good.
Ronaldo hat-trick back in 2018, group stage, I think, with the free kick. Repeat of this one.
I'm still going Spain.
Is that 8 years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, when he was even too old back then, but now he's 49.
What was he back then? 40.
Yeah, I'll go for Spain.
Yeah, I think that's 3 out of 3. USA, Senegal. Connor.
Ooh,
that's a tough one for both of them.
It is a tough. I got Senegal for me.
Really? Yeah. Hosts out again. Yeah. I'll probably go USA.
I'll go Senegal.
Okay, all right.
Senegal.
Very interesting indeed. That's that half of the draw.
The real AFCON winners.
Brazil, Norway. Wow, that's the last 16 clash and a half. Brazil, Norway, John.
Bryson.
Yeah,
I don't
It's
know.
going to be hard.
I don't know.
Haaland. Was it? You're just looking at Haaland, and thinking that Haaland's going to win the goal. Odegaard. Come on.
I think Ryerson, the right back from Dortmund, might be injured, and I'm looking at Vinny Jr. on the left, and I'm thinking, yeah, Brazil.
Oh, so if he wasn't injured, it would have been.
He's a good player. He's a good
way
player.
all the way.
They're all good players in the World Cup.
That is very true. I'm going Brazil. You're not so sure.
Be a tough one for them. That really, really tough one. I'll edge Brazil then. Yeah, I've not been impressed with Brazil. I'll be honest. I've not been impressed.
Mexico, England in Mexico City.
Well, you've not been impressed with England either, so obviously you're going to go Mexico for this. If you say you've not been impressed with Brazil, but you've been impressed with England, so why are they going through?
Three lines.
Yeah, just passion merchant, innit?
Exactly. I've not been impressed with them, so they're definitely going out. Not been impressed with England, but we're going to win the World Cup.
I'll tell you what, I will go with a 0-1 here, though. This one works.
Is that a 0-1?
That works, yeah, that's a 0-1.
Yeah, there you go.
0-1.
England to beat Mexico in Mexico City?
Yeah, I'll go with England.
Yeah, I think...
God, this is going out in England, isn't it? This was in Mexico City. I'd have gone with Mexico, but let's go with England.
We can't be frightened of Raul Jimenez. Come on now, with all respect to the man.
They've not lost 8 years in 8 years at the Azteca. But...
Argentina, Egypt. Argentina again.
Argentina.
Yeah, and then Switzerland, Colombia is the last 16.
Tell you what, Argentina haven't got a bad run, have they?
Neither have Colombia.
Not got a bad run, Argentina.
Neither of us. Neither have we.
I mean, this is where the last 32, last 16.
So Colombia,
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Really?
I'm going Colombia all the way on that one.
Switzerland. The thing is,
I'll tell
you what.
John's got the cast.
But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because, and the thing about a lot of when you have temperamental teams, if Switzerland go behind or things aren't going well, they will still be there. I think if things all of a sudden go against Colombia, I think that you can see the heads drop, you can see the temperamental thing, and I just fancy Switzerland. If you look player for player, they're strong, they're quick, they're disciplined. Colombia look good.
I think they can handle the conditions, and I think the fans, if you saw them against Portugal, it was sold out Colombia fans. I thought it made a massive difference for them handling the conditions.
Yeah, but England are going to beat Mexico, though, yeah? Home fans, those
100%.
conditions, exactly the same. Worse conditions than for Switzerland, but of course, we're England, so we're going to do that.
I'd vote.
So why do the conditions and the fans affect everybody else apart from us? We played in Mexico City. It's got to be humidity. It's got to be hot. They're a good side. They've not lost, but of course,
John, it's England.
Yeah,
That's England.
Come on now. Are we going Colombia or Switzerland? John's voted Switzerland. I've gone Colombia. Are we doing two versus one?
I go Colombia. Yeah.
Sorry, John, you're getting overruled. It's Colombia. Which brings us to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, which are France versus Morocco.
Was that
the end of the road?
Yeah.
I think France would win that.
I think France would win that. Yeah.
And then Spain, Senegal. It's an interesting quarterfinal.
Spain.
Big on Spain? Yeah.
Gotta go.
Spain. Because, of course, what happens in the heat as well, you see, for a lot of these, even Switzerland and maybe even England, but Spain, I'm not talking about them handling the heat from a physical perspective of it not being too hot for them, and they've got a hot country. In terms of the way they play, they manage the heat much better. Yeah. So I don't think heat's going to be a problem for these European players as much as they're Spanish. So I'll go for Spain.
Brazil, England. Uh-oh.
Oh, God. Come on, England. We're English.
I think England would beat Brazil. There you go. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I think
Do
player
you
for player.
think how we're playing right now we'd beat Brazil? Or do you think, are you basing that on us getting better?
No, I worry about Vinicius against our back four, but I look at Brazil's fullbacks and I think our midfield's better than their midfield. I think we've got a better number 9. I think we could deal with it, John.
I don't defensively. I think I worry about us defensively.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at the opportunities that Panama created.
Yeah.
Panama created 4 or 5 opportunities with better quality they would have scored. So I think if it all goes to there, I think that's where we're going out against Brazil.
You've gone Brazil, I've gone England. Con, it's up to you, mate.
It's always up to me, isn't it? After you said what you're going to say.
It's true.
It's up to you this
You've
time.
gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
England just. That's my reason. I don't have it.
England in the semi-final against. Now this is a quarterfinal. Argentina, Colombia. Wow.
I think you must have some relatives in Colombia, you two.
It's just because I stayed up to watch them till 3 a.m. the other night, and I thought they were amazing.
Yeah, of course, because and in Spain weren't great against Cape Verde. No. So I don't look at individual performances from one week to the next and go, or it's what you'll do is, hey, they're going to win the World Cup. They're not going to win the World Cup. They played well. You got to look and then say, they aren't all of a sudden going to be much better than they were a month ago in terms of what they did leading up to this. And the kind of individual performances may be great or may not be great, but that isn't all of a sudden going to change. So
Colombia went unbeaten for 2 years before the 2024 Copa America final, where they lost to Argentina. Come on.
I've said Argentina are going to get very.
So they lost to Argentina then?
They did lose to
Argentina. So they're going to lose again then, yeah? No?
Okay, they're going to lose to
Argentina. I'm asking you, what do you think?
I think Colombia will beat them.
Oh, really?
I think there's only so long that this Argentina
even though it's the exact same Argentina team that won the World Cup.
Exactly, without Di Maria and 4 years older. They're not going to win it again, they're not. But I've put Argentina through, which means our semi-finals for the World Cup are France versus Spain and England-Argentina. 3 European teams.
There we go.
France versus Spain. I think France are looking
I think so.
incredible. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think France will.
You think Spain could do France?
I mean, they can, and they can, but I think France have just too much power going forward. And, the thing about France is, and this is not what you want, because football isn't supposed to be out if you score 3, we'll score 4. But against France, I think that's the case. If you score 3, they'll score 4.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. And I don't see Spain scoring 4 against France. So.
What about the old enemy? England versus Argentina.
With you two, I might as well say England, because it doesn't matter what I say, does it? So it's going to be England-France final.
This is where we go out.
We're more likely to lose to Argentina or Colombia than Brazil. I don't know why I think that.
There's
We're not playing Colombia, though, are we?
No, we're playing Argentina.
All right,
Thanks to you two.
But you keep mentioning Colombia. we're more likely to lose against Colombia. We're not playing them. Even in this game, we're not playing them. So why do you keep mentioning Colombia? You must
love
on,
them. Yeah.
You must be on some kind of money thing with Colombia.
God, you said money thing.
Yeah, so I don't think we'd beat.
And it'd be Messi's first time against England as well, which would be quite interesting.
So we're going Argentina in the final?
Yeah.
Does that means we have got a repeat of the 2022 World Cup final?
Yeah.
France versus Argentina, run it back. How would you see that one panning out, Con? He can't do it again, can he?
No, I think it'll be the French. They'll just have too much. I mean, John was quite rightly saying it's the balance they've got in the midfield. I completely agree. And then the forward line is just ridiculous.
And then you bring on Barcola,
Yeah.
or Doué, if they're not.
Or Cherki.
Then they got Cherki. Come on.
Yeah.
And the fact that if that was England, that would be a fantastic front five.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden we'd want 3 creative midfield players as well, which means that you could actually beat them because they haven't got anyone. But once you've got a back four, which are quite strong, the 2 centre backs that France have and the full backs they have, and those 2, so they have 6 defenders and 4 attackers, and those 4 attackers are good enough to do whatever they do, and those 6 defenders can defend.
So do you think the French have got better than what they were in the last World Cup?
Well, if you think about, let's go back in history. When they won the World Cup in '98, everyone talks about Zidane and whatever, they had Guivarch up front, but Petit and Vieira, 2 defensive midfield players.
Yeah.
So as much as we don't look at them because we look at everybody else attacking and playing well, Dunga Maras Silva for Brazil. If you look at Spain, Fabio Ruiz and Rodri, they're very important. So while we all look for attacking flair and we always think about teams who have lots of attacking flair to win, you look at Brazil. They've got Guimaraes and Casemiro, defensive people, they're defensive players. Yeah. So I think we've got it wrong in that respect. But for, as I said, just in this game alone, and while you got De Paul and you got Enzo Fernandez, who are defensive midfield players, and Argentinians are strong defensively, I just don't feel they've got enough going forward without Messi to
I think there could be an early French goal if this was the final, which would just cause them to blow away.
I think they scored the other day, and it was like Lautaro Martinez, who I don't massively rate. I think he's okay, but he scored his first goal in 12 matches, and you think, wonder how many goals Mbappe scored in the last 12.
And not only that, if it's not Mbappe, you got Dembele, and you got Alicia who can score, and Doué and Barcola, and
Doué, you forget about Doué
coming on. So I think they've got too much firepower. France are a team who, and I hate this idea of we'll just score 1 more than you, but this French team,
but they will.
Whereas Argentina, I don't think can.
So John's going for France to win the World Cup. France for you, and I'm obviously going Colombia.
Colombia.
Obviously Colombia to win the World Cup. So you heard it here first. Absolutely. Going to finish with a couple of questions for you, John.
If that was actually Colombia against England, and we got to the final, do you think Colombia would beat England?
Yeah.
Would you put Colombia against France as well? Would you?
No, France would win the
Colombia,
final.
Spain?
I don't know. We're not playing those games, are we?
No, but if it happens that it turned out, you've got this thing about you got a Colombian girlfriend or something.
No comment. Talking of World Cups, you obviously played in 1990, John, and very famous World Cup for England. Started 5 games and then missed the semi-final.
I was injured throughout. I really shouldn't have gone. I was injured, but you're not going to A, say you're injured, and B, not go to the World Cup and pull out. So therefore, I was never fit really throughout.
Can you feel for like Reece James and can you feel for Reece James then?
Well, I don't think that they were necessarily injured.
Right.
I mean, I was injured. I don't think they were injured. I think they were fit enough to go, and of course, they picked up another injury. I kind of went injured, if you like. And it was a hamstring. So with hamstrings, you're not 100% sure. But of course, the player I was, you need your pace. And as much as I'm going through games, and I always felt I couldn't really give it my all. And of course, from a medical point of view, they're much better now in terms of assessing you and knowing what to do. So I don't think that I went injured. I don't think that they went injured. They got injured while they were there, maybe because of an old injury, but I don't think any of them went injured. But it was still just a great World Cup for the togetherness and the camaraderie, because of course we're getting a bit of stick back at home from the press, as we always did. Maybe we didn't help ourselves by sneaking out, getting drunk and stuff, but that's all part of the England team. But we had this siege mentality of everyone's against us. They were giving Bobby Robson stick. We wanted to play well for Bobby. Whereas football now in England is different, whereby we're very supportive of the. I saw with Gareth, the fans and the press and everybody. They don't look for stories to try and get in between and stuff like that. So, but '90 was a great World Cup. As much as because I was injured, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I could have or should have.
Do you think a lot of them at the end John, do you think a lot of the players go with niggles just because of the season, the competitions they've endured? Some of them are playing.
I don't think that really happens anymore because I think the rehabilitation is such that they really do look after the players now, and so therefore, listen, if you're going to be 100% fit, you're never going to play any football match anyway. But I think that in the old days, you'd have players going with more than niggles, if you like, because also you see, you look at how many players now are being given caps and being brought into England fold. Back then, you virtually had, 20 players who were going to be in the England squad no matter what.
Yeah.
And, it's not as if someone's going to come out of nowhere to go into the squad and stuff. So there weren't less players to choose from because you still had the same amount of players. But I think the squad really picked itself, whereas now you can see lots of people coming from left field into the squad and stuff.
Two questions for you in one, really. If you could pick one player from the 1990 squad to put into this squad and the other way around, who would you pick and why? Would you put yourself in this England squad on the left wing? That'll go quite nicely, wouldn't it?
Well, I wouldn't get a touch then, will I? Because it's got to be about Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham. So what's the point of me being there?
You just got to work
a bit like when I played for England, actually. Because it was about Bryan, Robson scoring goals, Gary Lineker defending. Because English football back then was about fighting. It wasn't about skillful players. So myself, Chris Waddle, Glenn Hull, the technical players weren't as appreciated, and of course that has changed until Thomas Tuchel took charge of England, because before it was always about the Phil Foden, the Cole Palmers, the skillful players, the Jack Grealishes. But if I had to pick one player from when I played to come into this team here, it'd have to be Glenn Hoddle. Okay. He could unlock anything.
Yeah.
I would say Bryan Robson, but I think if you look at the midfield we have here with, Rice and Bellingham and people like that, I think Robbo, but for someone who you just need to unlock something, Glenn Hoddle would be.
And what about this current squad? Would a Bellingham or a Kane or a Declan Rice?
Well, Bellingham was like Bryan Robson.
Yeah.
So we had lots of players like that. I would probably say Harry Kane.
Yeah, Kane.
Yeah. I mean, we had Peter Beardsley, who was, and Gary Lineker to score the goals. So really, but I think Harry Kane would have fitted into what we did.
Sensational. Last thing I really want to ask you is the big topic that's been kind of all over the World Cup: hydration breaks.
Hydration. We're going to talk about Colombia, the big topic.
Hydration breaks. Thoughts? Yes or no? Advert breaks. Would you have liked them as a player?
Well, if I would have been used to it, because I would have been a 25-year-old player who this is what it is. I can't magically, playing now and think, when in my day this wouldn't have happened. This is what it is. And if you want the money that FIFA make and the money that players get, going to have sponsors coming in, so what happens. I mean, it's not necessary, because there's enough break in football for a player to go and get a drink anyway. And all players don't want to drink at the same time. So hydration break means that you do go and you drink, but some players may say, well, I want to drink now, but some I don't. So just to have a drink when you want individually, with the amount of breaks in football, there's enough. Because in the old days, they used to just throw something on the pitch. The ball's gone out for a throw in, come and they throw a little squeezy body, and you do that. So I don't think it's necessary, but I haven't really got a negative issue about it either.
Yeah, it's just the stop in the gameplay, and we've discussed that enough. And what about VAR in general? You've had a couple of goals.
VAR.
Yeah,
love VAR.
Is that genuine? Yeah,
genuine.
We've seen.
Because I'll tell you what. So here's the thing.
Here's
the thing. If you think about, you watch a football match, and when you think it's a goal and it hasn't been, it's offside. And he's not offside, or he's offside, and the ball. And you think about the mistake that we think when you see it again on television, you go, "Oh yeah, he was right." So the 2 or 3 times that VAR may get it wrong, they get the vast majority right. And without VAR, we'd be getting so much more wrong, particularly goals which are offside or onside. The amount of times when you see a goal that's off, and he sees just offside, and it's been given, where we never have thought that's offside, but he is offside. Yeah. Now without VAR, that would never have been shown. And they go, "Well, does it matter?" Well, it does matter, doesn't it? Because he's offside. So therefore, I scored a goal against Belgium, which would have been onside, which with VAR would have helped. But so people complain about it, but we would get much more wrong without VAR. And the hardest thing about it is that football is still a game of opinions. Because if you and I are running for the ball and you're putting my shirt and I'm putting your shirt, whose free kick is it? It's still an opinion. So in terms of the factual, is it over the line or not? Fine. When it comes to free kicks and stuff like that, that still is an opinion as to, and referees can go and change their mind because they're under pressure. But yeah, I would be quite happy for VAR not to be in here if we're just going to allow the referee to make mistakes and not complain. But we're going to complain. So if you're going to complain, we're going to have VAR.
Absolutely. What were your thoughts? I think the offsides in this tournament have been bang on. This new semi-automated thing, no drawing of the lines. This is the way it should be, factual, as John says.
I think the thing that stood out to me, I don't know if you both agree, but it's probably been the referees letting tackles go as well. I don't know if you've picked up on that, but it feels like you'll see someone going down, and it's like the ref will just play off.
But you know why that is, and I agree with that. I mean, a lot of like football whereby, and I agree with that, let it go on, and there are times I go, ref, that's a free, and I'm thinking, no, that's a free kick in England, because if you break somebody's fingernail, it's a free kick, and they pull your shirt and stuff.
They're pulling hair.
Whereas the thing about that is that I would be quite happy for them either to give free kick or not give free kick if the fans would stop complaining. Because I watch the Premier League matches, and every time I want to watch Liverpool, and when it's obvious free kick or whatever, they all complain. It's not a free kick, but if it's first, it is a free kick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you just stop complaining, then fine, get on with it. But I think I like it because I'm watching a lot of stuff, and because of my being in England for the last X amount of years, watching players giving free kicks and whatever for nothing, that's the way I think. And I think, look at all that technical, and then stop and say, hang on a second, football's a physical game, and yes, play on. But we just complain so much in this country over every little incident. That is why referees do what they do. I think they referee much better abroad, but not because the referees are better, because I think the fans don't complain as much as we do.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think even in Europe, when you're looking at like Europa League, Champions League, I think the officiating's so much better, but we bring our English heads to it, and it's almost like, you know, if there's a tap on a player's ankle and then the player will go down, that's 100% a penalty. 100%.
But not only that, and what we like
yeah.
is an American thing, when all of a sudden they come and they say on the microphone what's actually done.
Yeah.
You can't do that in England. You do that in Liverpool. The referees that, okay, they give it off and the referee can go, well, you know, it's the man upstairs and it's VAR, blah, blah, blah. I come and I say that. They're not letting me out of the car park. You know what I mean? So therefore, you know, we just complain too much.
Right, thank you both very much for joining me. We have run out of time. England are going to make it all the way to the semi-finals of the World Cup. Colombia, who knows how Colombia will do, but we all think France are going to win the World Cup. Let us know your thoughts.
One second. Cool. I've said that for the last... Did you say that at the start of the World Cup?
No, I said Portugal, but it meant.
Did you say at the start of the World Cup?
I said France as well, yeah.
You sure?
Okay. I think so.
Because I know a lot of people are now jumping on the French bandwagon, you know, whereas I was saying it a long time ago. Everyone's going on about France now, so a lot of people are quick to just change their mind.
Spain, I think, were probably...
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then who else? Well, not only that, the number one and number France or Spain or England or Brazil, I think, or Argentina. I think it's going to be one of them. and then I'll be right.
Yeah, you've covered all bases. Get in the comments down below, like and subscribe. Let us know who you think is going to win the World Cup. Now we know the last 32 bracket. Thank you very much for joining me, guys, and we'll see you next week on the Betfred World Cup show.